Hello and welcome to my playthrough of the Battletech Beta test, which is available from Steam if you paid, I think it's $50. This is a game from Harebrained Schemes. I'm actually going to show you two matches. The first match I don't do too much customizing, the second match I do. In this one I'm going with basically a light battle versus light battle mirror matchup. However, I think I do change it. Yep, there you go, to battle. So I'm now on medium assault. So nice matchup there. So there are 3 combat levels, a couple of times of days, and I think it's 5 maps to play. So anyway, once you prep for launch, you then actually launch and you're into the game. And until you actually encounter the enemy, you move all your mechs, then the enemy moves all their mech. And then once you start picking each other up on sensor strength, you then switch to a very turn-based system. So basically, unlike Mech Warrior Online, which is a very slow-paced 3D tactical shooter, this game is a strategy tactical turn-based battle system, very, very close to the original Battletech version of the game. And in many ways it's better for that. Now there are a few quirks that I'm not 100% happy with. Some of the UI control elements are a little bit quirky. The camera definitely needs a bit of work, and the voiceover bits, whilst really good, occasionally your pilots repeat themselves, to my mind, a bit too often. It's not a massive issue. The main thing I think they need to focus on is the speed of the game and the camera control. That's pretty much it. The game seems pretty good as it is. It is fairly limited. It's just a battle, you know, one team versus one team at the moment with one lance, as far as I can tell. But so far, I'm very impressed, I have to say. This game you're watching here is my first or second game. I think it might be my second game. My second video I'm showing you, I think, is my 4th ever game. And the idea here is I'm trying to run to the left-hand side of the map to set up a killing zone as they come down the river. And my plan sort of works in this match, but it all goes a bit horribly wrong, and it did feel at the time I was playing it like the computer was cheating its dice rolling. It always seemed to be rolling 6s, whereas I was rolling 4, 5s and 6s, for example. So that is something that you might need to be aware of, that sometimes the AI seems to always get the lucky shot that blows off your arm or hits your head, whereas you just do lots of damage across the entire mech but no actual damage to any one particular system. And of course, again, that sort of is a bit more Battletech-y. The reason why your mechs have multiple weapon systems is so they can engage things at multiple ranges. Plus, you know, lerms are a really good harassment weapon, which en masse can be quite devastating, but, you know, don't really do that much because they're very scattered damage and they're fairly low damage. Of course, in Mech Warrior Online, with it being a 3D shooter, you can sort of get all your hits into one zone, unless you're dealing with lerms, and lerms have often, in Mech Warrior Online, done no damage or massive amounts of damage. Now, lerms, long-range missiles, I think are a great suppressive fire weapon, and also very good for putting a little bit of damage soak into your enemy mechs before they actually appear. So, you know, if you can cause them a few points of damage here and there, when they finally get into all your weapons' effective fire, then, you know, they've already been softened up. Anyway, I've achieved my objective here of actually getting sensor spots on the mech, so I'm going to try and move my commando so I actually get a visual spot on the mech so I can start learning them. Unfortunately, it doesn't happen, which is really frustrating. But I believe this is the enemy commando. Yes, here it comes, running into view. Now I'm thinking, hold on, 3 mechs on 1. I can take out this commando really quickly, and then that's going to give me the number advantage. And, you know, you can start steamrolling. You know, you get 1 mech up, then 2 mechs up, and then it's normally pretty much game over. So anyway, let's have a shot here. So as you can see, over on the left hand side you've got your heat, and then over on the right your weapons, and you can pick which weapons to fire based on their percentage chance of hitting. So I decided to do an alpha strike and, you know, do a little bit of damage to the commando, not as much as I would have liked, probably because it was all like 50-60% damage. I'm noticing you're wanting to be kind of in the 80 plus reliably here, so I choose to move the Hunchback up to just absolutely wail on this commando. So I'm really confident here that at close range with all my weapons, I'm just going to nail the snot out of this commando, and he's going to regret he was alive. So here we go, and most of my weapons miss. Look at that. Ridiculous. But then again, 60-70% chance, you know, maybe I was a bit too close, and that's what's also interesting. They seem to be saying if you're too close or too far, that's a big difference. You've got to get in your sort of optimal range, and I think that's where it feels like the computer's cheating. The computer's very good at knowing that at this range it's 70%, but if I take one step backwards I'll be at 80%. So it's very good at positioning itself. So anyway, let's move the Orion up and see if it can do a bit better. Now I've got a little bit more distance from the commando, so hopefully my percentages are a little bit better, which not really. Anyway, let's take off the Lerm. Unfortunately my AC-10 totally misses, as do most of my other shots. So that very damaged looking left leg there sadly is not taking enough hits to make this commando fall over. Now I'm getting quite a lot of Lerm love on my Hunchback, which is rather unfortunate. Anyway, not really doing much with this commando here, so I decide to try and sprint him into a new position, and the idea is I'm trying to run him up behind the Centurion, and definitely want to try and keep my commando safe for as long as possible. So anyway, the commando runs up and puts a load of SRMs into my leg. Doesn't really do me a huge, well, it does a decent amount of damage, not a huge amount of damage, but it does seem to have unstabilized my leg, and on the slope that makes me fall over. So that's, I believe, what this second bar is. There is a manual which I really ought to read, but basically a lot of what you're trying to do with a mech is you're either trying to make it unstable so it falls over, or you're trying to, you know, just out and out damage it. Now sometimes you're going to want to make it unstable because that's going to affect its ability to shoot you. It's also going to make it fall over, which means you can do, you know, cool shots on it. Anyway, all the weapons finally destroy the leg, take out a torso and an arm. So that was an absolutely devastating strike on that Centurion. So I'm very hopeful that I will be able to kill it now. So just need to make sure no other mechs can spot me, which I believe currently they can't, so that's good. So anyway, Hunchback needs to stand up. So stand up, and can I stomp this commando? And if I can, that gives me the number advantage, and you know, I haven't taken a huge amount of damage, so that's good. So anyway, this is a good stomp coming up. I love this bit. Look at this. Take this and crunch. There you go. Totally rips that commando a new one. So really like that melee combat, and that's something Mech Warrior Online could really do with a button just to say I'm going to hit you. Now I haven't really played much Mech Warrior Online recently, partly because it doesn't run very well in Windows. In Linux it requires Windows, but also because there's been a load of changes recently, and there's the new skill system, which I'm not a big fan of. And this game was coming out, and I decided that I want to spend my time playing this game because this is more the sort of game I want, a tactical, thinky game, which is much more Battletech to me than what Mech Warrior is. Mech Warrior is a beautiful game, and I really do enjoy playing it when I'm actually in the game, but sadly for me it's a little bit of a missed opportunity. It could have been so much better. Anyway, that's in the past. Anyway, Commando can't quite get to where I'm going, so I'm just going to run it up anyway, and the idea is I'm trying to keep it hidden for a bit until I can soften up this Orion, although that plan is going to go out the window a bit. So what's this medium? Oh dear, it's a Hunchback, and it's got a nice shot on my right hand torso, which is not the side of a Hunchback you want to be presenting to the enemy, because of course that's where all your good weapons are. So let's fire everything. 100% chance with my LRM-10s, although I am a little bit hot, so let's take off the medium lasers. And yeah, some good hits going in there, but a load of dodges on the Lerms, which is really annoying. I could have put a lot of damage into that Orion if I hadn't managed to dodge everything. Now that medium mech kind of scooting off in the background, I guess must be their Centurion. In come a load of AC-10s and some Lerms, and they get good hits on me, which is really frustrating. So my Hunchback's taking way more damage than I really want it to. So do I go for the Orion? Well, I've got 100% chance hits, so yeah. In goes the 20, in goes the lasers, and as far as I can see, I only did about 18 damage there, which is really annoying. Anyway, shoots back and just rips me a new one. Look at that. That damage coming in from that Orion is devastating. So yeah, this is where I started feeling like the computer was cheating its socks off. It's like, come on. How come, you know, I'm doing exactly the same shots at you and getting hardly any damage and you're wailing on me? Anyway, at least this Orion does a fairly good load of hits on the enemy Orion. So made it unsteady. So unfortunately I make a mistake here. I believe I moved the commando up. I probably should not have done that. It's because I was thinking the Orion's unsteady. Hopefully commando can, you know, make it fall over. Unfortunately, look at those percentages, 50%. So yeah, it's probably not the best move. As you can see, he didn't really do a huge amount to that Orion there. Didn't make it fall over. Pretty poor. And the Hunchback charges up to melee. Oh no, it's going to shoot my commando. So it rips me a new one, takes off my torso. So yeah, I'm surprised the Hunchback didn't deal with the Hunchback up in its face. It was a bit odd to me that it did that. So anyway, let's do a little bit of melee on melee, Hunchback love. And you know, that's a pretty good hit, 80 damage. And then 20, so 100 damage into that Hunchback. So, you know, that was pretty good. Unfortunately, the Centurion is going to become a real pest. It manoeuvres into a really good position just to AC-10 and Lerm my team to death. And look at that, just absolutely nails the commando, which was very unpleasant. But anyway, at the moment it's a commando for a commando, so not too bad. But I just need to kill one of these mechs to even it up. So probably should have added the medium laser there, but I didn't. I decided to conserve some heat, and I do a nice crit on the LRM system there. So, you know, at the moment it's still fairly evenly split. I am a little bit worried about this Hunchback, who is starting to get a little bit too much damage, also getting a lot of head hits, and a knockdown's also going to cause me a head hit. Now, I didn't really notice while playing, but the heavy mech there, the Orion, has just overheated and shut down. So rather than fire at this Hunchback, I do wonder if I should have gone for the Orion. But unfortunately, I would have had to move to do that, and I was hoping to get a nice stable firing platform by not moving to absolutely wail on this Hunchback. And I'm trying to work out the maximum damage I can do without overheating myself. So AC-10, not doing very well, but medium laser's doing a little bit better. Starting to run a little bit hot, but not too bad. So what's the Hunchback going to do? Not much. So let me stand up my Hunchback. Now, because I did a melee attack, I've cooled off, so I might have been better off slightly moving away and shooting here. So anyway, I do an Inspire, and then I think, yeah, I do another melee attack. Now, sometimes with the melee attacks, you get really, really good hits, and other times not so good. Now, both attacks there are actually pretty good, to be honest. So, you know, should I have maybe moved away and shot? Maybe I should. Anyway, Centurion's choosing to pick on my Hunchback, and another head hit. And I'm dead. So it's like, really? Very lucky computer player. But it's 2-on-2. So, need to finish this Hunchback. Unfortunately for me, that Orion is going to power up again soon, because I've totally forgotten about it. Battle Mech power up, there you go, and oh, hold on, that Orion's back. So anyway, Orion, come on, win me the game. So heat is becoming a serious problem. So just the SRMs, does decent damage, slightly scattered though. So yeah, I'm starting to worry here. How am I going to win this? Because I've got 3 mechs. My Centurion and my Orion are starting to get beaten up quite well. And I'm just not getting effective hits in on the enemy team. So is it worth chucking the Lerms in? Probably was, but I'm getting worried about heat. And look at that, double miss, really frustrating. If they'd gone in, those hits, that could have swung the battle a little bit more in my favour. So yeah, this Centurion doing a really good job at standing off long range and just sniping and taking opportunity fire. It's totally undamaged, and it gets some really good hits in on me here, which is very annoying. So anyway, come on Orion, come on, earn your keep. So again, let's stand still, and what weapons can I pour in? Yeah, it's tricky trying to work out what's best. Well, 90% is a good chance of hitting. So yeah, I'm having a good think here. What am I going to do? So I choose to move up. And then I'm going to try wailing. And I assume the camera's switched there to let me know that I've now been picked up by the Centurion. So very hot. So just 2 medium lasers it is. Little bit of damage, not brilliant, but every bit helps. Sadly, that other mech now is cooled off quite nicely, and for some reason chooses to go after my Centurion. And look at that, absolutely pounds me, which is really annoying that I'm getting absolutely pounded, and yet I don't seem to be doing too much against the enemy team. So got a problem with heat, but gonna go for it. And hardly any damage, and now I'm gonna be in danger of shutting down. So yeah, very frustrating at this point. I did feel like I should have been able to kill this Hunchback before it killed me, but it's just slowly tearing me apart. And that Centurion's going to be most annoying man of the match. Now, for some reason, it's retreated, but still managed to get a line of sight on me, but care of the Hunchback and the Orion. I can't see it though, so if I can't deal with these 2 clowns here, then I've got serious problems. So heat is still a problem. Really would like to just alpha this guy off the field, but it's not likely to happen. But managed to get some pretty good hits in it, causing it some nice center torso destruction. But yeah, the Orion trying to sneak around my flank is very concerning, and the damage it's putting into that Centurion, that Centurion can't take this too much longer. And knockover, fantastic. And you've got to watch out for these pilot injuries. As I say, I think it's 5 in the game will kill you, which is slightly better than tabletop. I think tabletop was 3 to kill a pilot. I am a little bit vague on some of the rules for tabletop. It's been a while since I played it, but you can definitely see they've taken a lot of the learnings from Mech Warrior Online. So yeah, let's chuck some damage the Orion's way. He's got a nice weak side torso, and that just looks great. Look at that. Oh, another nice crit on the Lerms, so hopefully we can mess him up. But unfortunately they are focus firing my Centurion, and he's lost his torso and his arm now, and his leg and center torso are not looking too rosy either. Anyway, Centurion's back, put some damage into my Orion. And yeah, it's getting a little bit tense at this point. I was assuming I would have killed one of their mechs by now. So what to do? Heat, the big problem. So let's go with Lerms and Ballistic. Again, that Hunchback's messed up, but it's just not dead. And is this where they kill my Centurion? Because he's going to die soon, I'm pretty sure of it. No, not yet. So Kraken is in all sorts of bother. So let's move him up. Try and get him behind the Orion. And wail on the Orion with a 100% chance of hitting. And look at that, my AC-10 does 34 damage, their AC-10 does, you know, like 50. It's like, what's going on there? Anyway, Hunchback chooses to walk up, as does the Centurion, and of course, yes, they shoot at my Centurion, who really doesn't like it. Very unpleasant. So yeah, I'm now thinking game over. I don't stand a chance. So it's, what can I do to stay alive? So maybe a melee attack on that Hunchback, or just shoot all my weapons in. What? It's like really unpleasant choice now. What to do? So I sensibly decide to move away, and I can't quite get the angle I want. So I think I shoot the Orion. Unfortunately, again, heat is a massive problem. And I miss. It's like, really? Come on, give me a break, game. So, more damage incoming, but shrug it off relatively well. Just a little bit concerned about this Hunchback, who chooses to AC-10 me. And look at that, my center torso is not enjoying that. So I'm hot. So I got major issues. Now if I can kill these mechs, I'm going to make that Centurion lose line of sight to me. And that would give me a chance. So I'm praying that I can survive this onslaught and kill the Hunchback. Come on, at least give me a kill on this Hunchback. So let's engage in melee this Hunchback. It's got a weak center torso, come on. So that's a good old strike. Look at that. Left torso, left arm. Fantastic. Unfortunately, not quite good enough. Now the Orion returns the favour and takes off my arm. So improved my heat efficiency by removing some of my weapons, and rather irritatingly also knocks me down. So there you go. Now Buckshot's got some nice little voiceover. Unfortunately, he does get repeated a bit much, where it talks about like, I'm doomed, or I prefer to use weapons. I quite enjoy the I'm going to die, which she says. I'm losing weapon systems, various other things she says. So it's a good fun character. So I can see me using Buckshot in the actual game when it comes out. I also like the way when she gets knocked over, when you stand her up, she's like, I go down, I get up. All sorts of great little commentary from her. Anyway, managed to kick the snot out of the Hunchback. Unfortunately, it's still alive. I was hoping to get a knockdown on it. Now the Orion backs off and shoots me. And I was really worried I was going to lose my leg there, but thankfully I managed to just about keep hold of it. And the Hunchback melees me or shoots me in the back. What's it do? I can't. Oh yeah, moves around behind me. And then guess who? That long-range Centurion sniper. And when you see those missiles coming in with the almost cherry red center torso, it's a little bit concerning. Anyway, I decide, well, if I turn my back on that Centurion, I've probably got more armor on my back than on my front. Come on, kill this Centurion. Sorry, Hunchback. Yes. killed the Hunchback. So I'm starting to think if I could just kill this Orion, I'm golden. So I've got more armor facing both the Orion and the Centurion. So yeah, fall over. Good thing though is because I've fallen over and because the Orion's overheated, that pest off in the distance loses sight of me. Now I do wonder if I could have stood up, moved away a bit and shot that Orion. Instead I think I choose to melee it, because when it's shut down, in theory it's easy to hit, but when you melee you can't do a cooled shot. So I do a good old hit there, taking out a whole load of stuff, and I also knock it over. So I'm feeling really happy. I'm thinking, okay, it's knocked over, the other pilot can't see me, I should be good for another turn. So I'm starting to think, hey, I might get one-on-one here with the Centurion. But unfortunately the Orion manages to stand up and power up, which is really annoying. And that means Lerms can come back in. Now I can't remember, does the Centurion actually shoot me? Yes it does, of course it does. And this is unpleasant. Oh, look at that. So, need to kill this Orion. So I definitely should have moved away from this Orion, I think, and shot it. But I choose to do another melee. Yeah. I think that was where I cost myself the game there. I think if I'd been able to move away and shoot that Orion, I might have actually stood a chance, because that Orion is spotting me and the Centurion is going to make me pay. So here comes the damage. And boom, I'm dead. So yeah, that was frustrating. I went from feeling confident early on to then thinking that's it, it's done, and then suddenly it was back in my favour. Anyway, let's try a little bit more customization. So let's go to a customized mech layout, and I think I also did tweak some of the pilots to put different pilots in. Maybe I didn't. So I'm trying to get catapult for Lerms, and Centurions obviously being a bit cheaper and pretty decent, decide to go for a load of them. Unfortunately my budget doesn't quite stretch to all the options I want, so as you can see I'm over at this point, so the catapult is going to have to become a Centurion. And I don't really want a commando, so can we squeeze in a Jenner, because jump jets are always good. So there you go, lovely. Let's randomize the other team and let's play, but let's change it to sunset. So here we go. We get a new loading screen, which is good to see. I'm glad to see there's more than just the one loading screen, but shouldn't take too long. There you go. Let's launch away. Now this game goes a little bit more like I wanted it to. So again, we're going to stick to the tactic of let's try running to the left, try and shuffle them into me one or two at a time, try and set up a killing zone. Now, because I've got an Atlas, I'm tempted to park it roughly where the Jenner is at the moment, send the Jenner more to the left, and then have the Centurion standing just back from the woods. And with the Atlas and the Centurion having Lerms, hopefully you can rain a load of hell on the mech as it comes in, and then when it gets a bit closer, the Centurion's AC-10s and the Atlas's just multiple weapon systems, hopefully you can rip them a new one. The Jenner really shouldn't be trying to get too involved until it can kind of get around the back of people or we've whittled the enemy down. So Jenner, off you go, go scout, and it does pick up an enemy briefly. So it's got good sensor strength, the Jenner, so that's good to know that the enemy are there. Thankfully it means I know they are close, but I can still move all my people before I have to start worrying about the enemy. So the Atlas, obviously being slow, isn't going to be able to move into position with the Centurion, so up it goes, that little kind of dip there, just to kind of lay in ambush ready for when the enemy move up. Now the Jenner is not in the best position, to be honest. I ideally want to get it across the river, Now I do wonder if I'm going to have to use jump jets, because you don't seem to be able to cross the river at this point, so it's possible you need to jump jet over the river because it's too deep maybe to ford there. But I've never really moved out of this position on this map, so I've been trying to kind of come up with a strategy where I can ambush people and nail them in a load of crossfire. Now on this game the strategy did actually sort of work, so I'm pleased to say that, you know, you can try things out. Anyway, after a little look around the map to see if I can spot those sensor blips, I put the Jenna into a kind of guard mode. I also choose to put Apex into a kind of reserve mode, because I'm waiting for these mechs to move up, and thankfully the Kintaro moves up enough that I can actually see what it is, which means I can target it. I'm not sure what this mech is, 50 ton though, whatever it is. So let's try and wail on this Kintaro. Now I should have shot my AC-10 at it, but because it's only a 50% chance, I sort of decided just to lurm, and as you'll see, all these lurms go flying in and it pretty much dodges all of them. I think I got like 4 damage in total there. A little bit frustrating. So let's keep it up. This is the idea, just nice safe pot shots. So take off the AC-10 because it's less than 50%. Nice flat trajectory, and look at those go flying in. It looks great. Unfortunately the Kintaros managed to dodge most of the damage there. Really, really frustrating. So the Atlas, probably only going to get the Lerms, so nice high blind fire Lerms here, and these long range missiles, I'll say, not a particularly devastating weapon, but en masse they can really soften up an enemy well. And that's the idea here. I'm trying not to take any damage and put as much damage into that Kintaro as possible to make sure that when we actually get into weapon effective range, you know, I've got more armor so I can win the war of attrition. So anyway, I do finally choose to shoot my AC-10, which doesn't actually hit, and again most of my Lerms miss. Now for some reason the Kintaro decides to run up and spot the Jenna and nail the Jenna, which is rather unfortunate, because the Jenna takes a good old pounding. Now there must be a load of SRM6s in that Kintaro, and that really, really did hurt. So time to jump jets out of here. So let's jump away and make sure I can still shoot people should I need to. Now what's interesting when you jump jet, sometimes when you pop up high like that you do get to spot other signals off in the distance. Obviously you lose them again once you land, but at least you've got an idea what the other mechs are, because I've no idea what this medium mech is at this point. If I remember correctly, it is actually a hunchback, which we'll find out very shortly. Now I have lost my ability to shoot the enemy because no one's spotting, so I choose to reverse one of my Centurions up so I can continue to long range snipe, whilst my other Centurion's going to go spot, because I don't really want to risk my Jenna at this point, because it's taken way too much damage this early in the game. So it's really a sort of cat and mouse at this stage. So Wildfire unfortunately can't spot anything, so just put it on guard. And let's see what the enemy does. Oh, here you go, we've got some light mech moving in. So Mockingbird, we're going to run her off to guard the back of the Atlas. Yeah, so down over there, watching the back of the Atlas, making sure nothing sneaks up on us. Okay, so we're now getting to the tense stage where who's going to make the first mistake. So this is where I'm a little bit nervous, because I'm moving my Centurion up into harm's way here, but I really need to get a spot in on that Kintaro, and I don't get it. Really frustrating. So you can guarantee there see me, and sure enough the mech moves, and there you go, we've now spotted each other. So the Kintaro unleashes its SRMs on me and gets a pretty good amount of hits in. So, you know, not a disaster, but that could have gone better. So, come on, Ozone, save your buddy. Bit of Lerm love. Now, I'm not sure what goes on with friendly fire in this game. I'm not sure there is any. Could be interesting if that happens, because at the moment it seems, you know, you're quite happy to chuck long range missiles in on mechs that are engaged with your mech, but you know, that's a little bit risky. Anyway, AC-20 from that Hunchback pouring in on my right arm, which is not good. So I need my Atlas to do some serious damage. So I think I'm going to have to move it up to be the spear point, hopefully draw all the damage, you know, because that's what it's there for. It's a walking wall of death, and I'm really pleased to see in this game that the Atlas is a little bit terrifying. I mean, look at those weapons. So I'm going to fire everything, even though the Lerms only have a 45% chance of hitting this Kintaro. So look at that. That is really satisfying. Look at that. Just, oh, those damage numbers, the fire effects, the smoke. That was really satisfying. It really felt like I poured a load of heat in there. Now, my Atlas is going to get sniped. Now, when you see a light mech and then you see a load of bullets coming in like that, it's normally an urban mech. And they're really irritating because they can shoot you from quite long range and they're quite hard to spot. Anyway, for some reason I choose to move my Jenna up. I can't remember why I did that now. I think it's because I was thinking the Kintaro's unsteady, it's taking a load of damage, and I can probably alpha strike him and do some really good hits. Which, you know, to be fair, I did a pretty good job. And also the Kintaro and the Hunchback probably aren't going to be able to go till next turn. So hopefully, you know, I've managed to cause damage without taking any in return. So fire all the weapons at this Kintaro, and look at that, load of destruction, load of damage. That was good. We're doing a good job here. So knock down the Kintaro, and I love that animation there. That was good. Really felt like the mech was struggling to stay on its feet. So anyway, it's going to stand up, and does it run away? I think it does. Yeah, repositions itself to try and get a bit of cover, and it chooses to go for my Jenna, which was rather unfortunately, and takes out my leg, which is really annoying. So I'm now worried my Jenna is in for a little bit of pain. So can we get some payback? Come on, rip it a new one. So in goes all the damage, just not quite enough, but I'm starting to think that Kintaro's not long for this world. Hunchback moves in and thankfully goes for my Atlas, but I am starting to get worried here. My right arm, if you look in the little rag doll down in the bottom left there, is starting to look a little bit iffy, and if I lose that arm, that's not good. So can't really shoot that Kintaro from this angle, so I need to reposition my Atlas. But luckily I can shoot the Hunchback, so I choose, rather than to reposition, control my heat a bit and just unload on the Hunchback. So I'm trying to work out my optimal chance to hit and do damage. So there you go, that's probably the best option. And you know, it does okay. Does okay. Can't complain too much with the amount of damage I did there. So more sniping from the urban mech coming in on my right arm, and I was getting very worried about them, I have to say. They are sniping away with no damage in return. Now the Jenna does have a sense lock ability, and I probably need to consider using that. I haven't really used it in any of my battles, but let's get the Jenna to move away from that Hunchback and see if we can deal with this Kintaro. Luckily I can alpha strike it, so I will, and get a couple of hits in, but a load of misses. But you know, every little bit of damage helps, and hopefully if we can take out this Kintaro without losing the arm on my Atlas, we should be kind of winning the attrition war. So heat is going to be a problem potentially, so I choose to charge in with my Centurion. And this is, look at that, that's great animation. Run down, swing the arm back, punch it really hard, take out its torso and arm, and knock it over. That was a nice, satisfying melee attack. That also hopefully buys me time to wail on the Kintaro and the Hunchback without losing any mechs of my own. Now the Kintaro chooses to reposition itself probably because by running downhill it's going to get a better melee attack on me, but that means it is more vulnerable to my team being able to hit it, so that's good. Percentages are not great with my alpha, but I'll give it a go, and got the center torso, so I wasted a little bit of heat there, but took out the Kintaro, so I'm now feeling confident. We have got the numbers advantage, haven't taken a huge amount of damage, but my Atlas is starting to take way too much damage on its right hand side. I need to consider repositioning my Atlas. So I think I do actually reverse it a bit to gain a little bit of distance and a better shooting angle, but also to present, you know, undamaged parts of my mech to the enemy. And do I fire all the weapons here? No, I can't because I'm too hot. So got to have a good old think about what to shoot with. So 2 mediums and an AC-20. The AC-20 does nothing, but luckily the medium lasers do pretty decent damage. That Hunchback is starting to look pretty beaten up. My Atlas is doing okay. Could lose its AC-20 if I'm not careful. So that's a little bit of a concern. Anyway, I choose to inspire the Atlas and then reposition the Jenna out of sight so it can survive this turn. And the idea here now is to converge on that Hunchback, finish it, and then go deal with those annoying little light mechs. And the plan works pretty well, I have to say. So let's see how it shapes out. So long range sniping, now hitting a different part of my Atlas, so that's good. You know, I've got loads of armor, but if they just keep shooting the same location over and over again, loads of armor suddenly is not so much armor. So being spotted by those 2 light mechs by moving up, but I do have a little bit of Lerm love to share with you, Mr. Hunchback. So there you go, very high angle strike there for some reason, but you know, every little bit of damage helps on the Hunchback. Now the Hunchback chooses to charge me and does a pretty good headbutt. Yeah, that wasn't so good. And then there goes my arm, and I think I fall over as well. Yeah, there you go. That was a very, very good headbutt. Now the Hunchback is pretty good, I think, at charging you. Yeah, you gotta love the Hunchback. It's a great, fun little mech. Anyway, time to reposition my team and try and finish this Hunchback without losing my Centurion, because now my Centurion's lying on the ground. It's very vulnerable to cooled shots and particularly long-range sniping from those pesky urban mechs. So anyway, everything apart from the Lerms into this Hunchback, and you know, I do okay. Could have done better, could have done worse. Now the Atlas, do I charge and punch the Hunchback, or do I just fire all my weapons? Heat is a factor, but maybe it's worth just risking a little bit of heat. So shoot everything that I can without totally overheating, and that does really, really well. Look at that, absolutely nailed that Hunchback and made it fall over, which is always good. But I have caused myself a little bit of heat damage. So what to do? Well, I choose to risk the Jenna. So I jump jet him in, and I'm going to try and shoot the Hunchback while it's down on the ground with my Jenna. So cooled shots. Now I probably should have gone for the torso, but I choose to go for the head, and my damage comes in, and I think, do I blow off his AC-20? Yeah, there you go. So he's lost his main weapon, so that's good, but unfortunately at the cost of causing myself some internal damage and shutting down. So shots come in, I think, for my Centurion. Thankfully they seem to miss. So first thing I need to do is get this Centurion up, and it's right next to a mech that's on the ground, so a nice stamp in the nuts is probably well worth a try. So that's what I go for if I remember correctly. Here you go, nice stomp, and hopefully I can finish this Hunchback. And this looks great, this, I love this. So stomp, and boom. So there you go, 4 mechs versus 2 lights. I am feeling confident I should do a lot better. So can't really shoot the enemy because I can't even see them. So let's sprint this Centurion up. Hopefully that will get me a spot on the light mech so my Atlas can pound them from long range. Unfortunately, it doesn't seem to work like that. I still can't spot those epoxy lights. So I choose to sprint the Atlas, which you'll probably notice gets me hardly any further forward than if I just walked. But, oh well, what can you do? So, what are those mechs? I still can't spot them. I can see them on my sensors, but I don't know what they are. So, I think it's time for the heroic risk a mech maneuver. So damage coming in on my Centurion, my undamaged one, and I think it doesn't really do much, so I got away with that. So Jenna up into the water so it can keep cool. Sorry, Centurion up into the water so it can keep cool, and hopefully I can finally spot the mechs. See what they are. Yes, 2 urban mechs. So let's alpha that one. And unfortunately I'm missing my AC-10. That would have been nice to have added an AC-10 at that point. So let's move my other mech. And fire. Quite a bit of damage coming in here. Now I'm surprised just how much damage the urban mech can actually soak up. It's a tough little beastie. Obviously though, with 4 mechs against you, you're not likely to do well. Now this is one of the glitches I don't like, is the fact that I'm trying to move down and look right and it won't let me. Now this is possibly due to movement points, but it's not very good at telling you that. The feedback I think is a little bit poor there, but that's something they can work on. Anyway, let's try and put as much damage into this little fella as we can. So let's do some long range sniping first with some lerms. And yes, a couple go wildly off target there, not sure what happened there. But yeah, that urban mech's now starting to take a lot of heat. Now for some stupid reason it runs forward, which I think is a mistake. Luckily for me it doesn't even get to shoot, so definitely going to move up with the Centurions and the Jenna and just wail on this guy. He's going to really regret his life choices. And I also kind of quite like that random scenery destruction in the background there as well. That's a nice little touch. Anyway, I think I can alpha, so I will. And sadly, could have been a better attack, but you know, can't complain too much. It's got a torso go cherry red, so that's always good. And yeah, Centurion's drawn a load of hate, probably trying to shoot off my AC-10. So before I lose it, let's finish this mech off. Oh, I have in fact lost my AC-10, so doesn't really matter. So melee attack or shooty attack? Let's go with shooty. So lerms at this range, very low percentage, but you know, every little bit of damage helps. And we got a knockdown, so definitely feeling very confident at this stage. Much better. The plan is working this game, unlike that previous one. So called shot. Now I probably should go for the torso. I went for the head. So far everything apart from the lerms, and destroyed a load of stuff, but didn't actually kill him. Heat is a little bit high, so Pilot is whinging about that, but never mind, eh? So time for the Atlas to try and nom on an urban mech, but I think I choose to just do a cheeky little sniper shot at the undamaged one first. And, you know, reasonable damage in there, not brilliant, but, you know, I'll take it. Anyway, the downed urban mech gets up and probably should have stayed down, particularly as he chose to shoot at the Atlas. Probably should have gone for the Jenna. So let's shoot. Don't want to charge him. And I was expecting at this stage to maybe kill the urban mech. Didn't quite manage it. Hopefully my next attack will kill it. And I suddenly realised my Centurion's in a little bit of trouble. So I think I choose to charge this mech. So goes running up and smacks him with the fist. And look at that, just absolutely rips him apart. He's now got no weapons. Don't really need to worry about that mech that much. So that's good. So what to do? Let's try and kill this guy. Yeah, center torso it is. Fire all the weapons. And he's dead. Unfortunately, that did cost me a massive heat penalty, so emergency shutdown with a load of damage. But, you know, I've just got one mech left to worry about now. So let's move up the Atlas and make them pay for their cheekiness of long-range sniping me. So I need to work out what can I shoot, and it's pretty much everything. So let's fire everything. And this urban mech's really taken a pounding. It's managing to survive. Blow off an arm, unfortunately not the one with the AC-10. So what's the urban going to do? Well, not much apparently. So let's move up the Jenner. Put a little bit cheeky damage in, and then if it lives, hopefully the Centurions can finish him off. Now the stability of that urban mech's pretty low. Hopefully I can knock it over if I don't kill it. Oh, look at that. Yeah, it's in deep trouble now. It's got very, very damaged center torso. It's been knocked down, and of course it's lost some of its weaponry. So can I finish it? Yeah, let's melee it. Hopefully this will finish it off, and I love the fact that all the terrain goes scattering all over the place. And a stomp. Can we get another kill from a stomp? Apparently not. So time to power up my overheated mech. And do I want to do a cheeky shot? I think so. So let's move up with the Atlas and hopefully finish the match for a victory. So the AI, you know, it has its pros and cons. I think it's not bad. So there you go. That should pretty much give you a good overview of how the game plays, because I'm pretty sure this is the finishing blow. And I'm pretty impressed. I'm looking forward to playing a bit more. Sadly, it's only available on Windows right now. The Mac and Linux clients will be coming. I believe there might be a Mac beta out now, but you know, definitely you're good to go if you're on Windows, and it's also on Steam. So I believe you can still order the beta if you want in. I really enjoyed it. So anyway, take care.